thank you. With that, we conclude public participation, and we move forward with the next item in the agenda, which is a motion to approve the CIWP for 25-26 school year. So I would like to present a motion to approve the CIWP for 2025 to 2026 budget. I mean, CIWP. Move your vote. So open for discussion.
So what I did is I took the feedback that was presented at the LSC, so I amended the language around MTSS with the concern of being funded and made it specific to what the MTSS team does as outlined by CPS and the MTSS framework, making sure that it follows the full continuum of the MTSS team, so that language was upgraded. The staff said that they wanted to see more specific language regarding EL professional development to give teachers the strategies for how to support newcomers, the various levels of students and the various language needs. So I added that to priority 2, so you'll see like more specific language around EL professional development, EL collaboration, the EL component still remains. So I added the 2 pieces that I extrapolated from the last meeting in terms of feedback from the LSC. And I've already communicated that to the CIWP team in email. No one responded, like sharing that there were any concerns. I've sent it to all of you as well with the amendment to the CIWP. So I provided everything in full transparency.
I'm just wondering, was there any attention given, because I've staff-wide for the last year and a half, was there any attention given to creating a coherent and unified system regarding parties and attendance and communicating with parents and students and teachers, a policy and a structured approach to this? Because before you got here, that's been really just sort of first and second period become optional. People are confused about how to handle these things. So I think that would be relevant to the CIWP in that the goal seems to be to help improve relationships amongst the faculty and students. They don't have to have a coherent, structured system that the school runs by that everyone's familiar with expectations.
So all of that is outlined in school year 24, so it's already been approved. So what happens when we do progress monitoring every quarter, it carries over. So anything that is in priority 1 is, for school year 24 is going to carry over into school year 25. It's a 3-year plan. So those action steps are already outlined. If you look at priority, I want to say 2 and 3, it talks about creating school-wide expectations, making sure that they're clear to staff. So that work is going to continue. So it's not like we abandon stuff that happens the first year. It has to carry over. That's why it's a continuous improvement work plan. If we don't finish this year, we have to meet again quarter 4 to update the action steps. Remember, we can't change the priorities or the theories of action. We can always update the action steps. So if the CIWP team feels, and again, it's a lot of people on that team representative of all departments, if they feel that we didn't do a good enough job of setting those expectations, then it carries over into year 2 and we add it. So it's not one of you have to give us a year so to finish the work year 1, and if we don't finish in year 2, it carries over into year 2 and we add it through our progress monitoring.
Just to be so not vague, and I'll make it more of a yes no question. At the end of last year, Mr. DiCarlo, said there would be a published structured policy for attendance and parties that is communicated with all parents, students going into this year that is clear and that students can work with, especially with teaching grades. So yes or no, will there be a clear, published, communicated policy for parties and attendance, how they relate to grades going into next year, so we're all on the same page as to grades?
With regards to targets and student discipline, we're working towards that policy, making sure that we're providing due process to our students. Keep in mind, again, and like I shared before, we work directly with Office of Social Emotional Learning and the Office of Student Discipline. Anything that we create as a school that's high needs with safety and security concerns has to be vetted through the Office of Student Discipline, making sure that all students are given their due process and their work. It's called the students' rights and responsibilities. We have to meet that. We have to, even for the slightest level one, we have to be able to get a hold of the parent, whether via email or phone call or in person, and we have to be able to meet with the student to ask them what happened, why they're not going to class. That is their due process. They have a right to say their side before we issue a misconduct. So you have to understand that that has to be factored into the piece. And like we had discussed this before, we just onboarded the attendance coordinator, 2 months ago, and she's still growing into that role. And I think she's doing a great job of trying to commit to everything that she's outlined in the current tardy policy. But right now we're phasing it in. We just got the equipment needed to do the tardy stations. We have to work through the CPS processes for orders and the stuff. Desktops and laptops don't come right away. Equipment doesn't come right away. We have to wait for CPS to set up the devices. So there's a lot of technical challenges with everything that we're trying to do to make sure that it's sustainable and that what we're communicating to the families is that it's grounded in the students' rights and responsibilities, and that we can assure the parents and the students and the staff that we're following the law when it comes to CPS, and we're not violating state policy when it comes to attendance as well. Those are the things that we have to factor, like the attendance. There's been various attendance presentations by the attendance coordinator to the staff where you're allowed as a staff to provide that feedback and to raise the concerns. And it's very clear to remember there's a difference between tardy to school and tardy to class. Always there has to be different types of root cause analysis for why a student's not coming to class. We have to work with the parent. What are the obstacles? Are they STLS? That factors in. And this has all been explained multiple times to the staff. So I've shared the resources, I've shared the policies. You've asked me to email you the policies, and I've completed all of that. So I don't understand why the question about the expectations. We're doing what we're supposed to do, and we're working within the law and making sure that we're following federal and state law when it comes to attendance, and that we're not violating students' rights and responsibilities, because if we do, then you're subject to litigation because you fail to follow the district policy. And I'm very clear, I'm gonna follow what the law says when it comes to student rights and responsibilities and making sure that students are afforded that due process. And that's very important. So any policy that's created has to be grounded in being trauma informed, and has to be grounded in equity. So are we taking into consideration where the kids are coming from, family dynamics? Do we have to talk to the kids? What if they're experiencing something with some type of ideation, and here I'm going to a punitive approach when I should have approached it through a more behavioral health team approach? So you have to be very careful when you're issuing consequences. That's why it's very important that you have to talk to the parent, you have to talk to the student. We are 90% free and reduced. We are a high Title I population. We are a high STLS population. We have an influx of newcomers who haven't been in school for a very long time, who go home to shelters. And so those are all factors. Some of our kids take two buses to get here, 2 hours, and so they can't stay after school. Do you know those stories? Those are the stories that we have to get to know as the culture and climate team, the attendance coordinator. We do all that heavy lifting because we have to know the student's story. It's very important. We understand that there are kids that are making that choice, and we follow the student code of conduct accordingly. So just to give you that context with the policy. So it's going to continue with terms with grading. The district is taking the district approach on that. So they're going to be handling it at the district level when it comes to grade. They're already putting the committees together, and I guess they're going to be working with CT.
Go ahead. Any more questions? Mr. Rolando?
Real quick, so just to give the staff a little bit more feedback, I'm gonna answer Dr. So I've been part of the house groups. It's something that was asked like last year. And then
Specific.
yeah. I've been part of the hall sleeps. We are. It's something that is going on. It's something where we've been seeing regular kids, and when we see those regular kids, I feel like they approach them in a way where, it's not to where, oh, you're suspended for 3 days because of whatever. No, they actually speak to them. Hey, why are you in the hall? I've been there and I've seen it, but I just want to say that's been successful. They got data to back that up. I think for the future, my advice is to bring that data, just to have it, for them, for everybody that's asking these questions, and just because that information is key to what they're asking. So
if I could say, that's the kind of information I'm looking for, just a logistical, what's going on in the building. As far as understanding the stories of students, I work with students all day long, so it's not a question of us being sympathetic and having a heart for a student. I'm asking along the lines with what Orlando's trying to address, which is what specifically are we doing? Because we clearly have a huge problem, and I'm not blaming anyone, but when students have, 52 absences in first period and given a B, something's way off. It's not a lack of understanding of the story. It's just, as a school, we have to address this statistically for the secondary. So Rolando's answer are more the type of things I think we're looking for as teachers is just nuts and bolts logistical plans to help students succeed.
Yeah.
As far as understanding them as people, we went into that, we got it.
Right, and it's not the first time we heard this. I mean, I think in one of the LSC meetings, I was the person who said exactly the same thing. Now we're dealing with a lot of situations with the kids after the pandemic, and now we are hearing all those problems, and we have to find a way to solve them at that time. So it was like a fight of time. So now we see that we took it seriously, and we're moving forward in that area.
So the hall suites seem to be working?
Yeah, they actually are.
Doesn't have to be punitive, it could be very real, okay, that's all we're looking for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there is no more questions, we close the discussion and we go to roll call for vote. Okay, so no more questions? Mr. Caputi, please.
Dr. Vilches,
Yeah.
Ms. Lopez.
Yes.
Mr. Keelis. I'll abstain. Mr. Cost.
Yes.
Ms. Hanson.
Yes.
Ms. Hernandez.
Yes.
Ms. Shoddy.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Destiny Johnson.
Yes.
9 yes, no abstention, it passes.